When I first started studying English, I tried to master everything, like listening, speaking, vocabulary, pronunciation, but I was completely overwhelmed. But looking back, I wish I had focused on just one skill, the one that makes everything easier. And the thing is, most English learners don't spend a lot of time improving this skill, and the skill is listening. That's why I created the free video of listening practice that I actually did that walks you through everything. It tells you how to study listening in fun and fast way. All you need to get the video is to click the link in the description, share your email with me, and I'll send you the guide straight to your email. Okay, so let's start by talking about why the listening is the most important skill and why it's also a foundational skill that other language skills build upon. I think a very common problem that I see nowadays when it comes to learning English is that a lot of people think it has to be difficult. If you're not struggling with your language learning, you're actually not improving. But that's obviously not true. Yes, all those skills like reading, vocabulary, pronunciation, they're all important. But I would say there's one core fundamental skill that we really have to work on. To be honest with you guys, there's a lot of debate about what is the most important skill to master. The two most common answers are listening and speaking. But in my personal experience, the most important skill has been always listening. When I started studying English when I was 20 years old, I was fully thinking about how I can improve my speaking skill. How can I be fluent? I want to be like a native English speaker. But the actual problem that I faced at the time was that I didn't understand what people said in English. I tried to join a group and talk to them, but I couldn't catch the conversation, sometimes even a word. Honestly, it was a nightmare because all I could do was nod as if I was enjoying the conversation. You know the worst part? When they asked me a question, I froze. I think you've experienced the same thing as me. In real conversation, if you don't understand what people are saying, there's nothing you can do, no matter how hard you practice speaking. And just imagine, when you were born as a baby, the first thing you did was listening to your parents and TV. Then you started saying simple words. That's why listening is the most important skill for learning language. If you can achieve a high level in comprehension, all other skills will come. The speaking skill will come. And I think as an English learner, it is really important to hear this because we are all busy. You know, we have family responsibilities, we are busy for work, we're busy for hobbies. And for me personally, I like studying English. And studying English is one of my hobbies, but it doesn't mean I want to study English for 10 hours every day. It is absolutely not realistic. And I don't even have 10 hours every day to dedicate myself to English. And that's why every single day I sit down to practice my English. I try to focus on my listening comprehension. All right, so let's talk about how you can improve your listening skill as an English learner. One useful method that I really recommend is dictation. It's basically where you carefully listen to every sentence and try to understand the both meanings and pronunciation. Once you understand them, you repeat the sentence. You actually say it loud. People often suggest shadowing, which you constantly repeat and try to keep up with the sentences right after you hear them. But for me, shadowing is not the best method because while you're repeating, your voice and audio gets kind of mixed together. You hear both at the same time and it just gets messy. Instead, you stop the video after each sentence and try to make sure that you fully understand it or not. And if you don't, it's usually because you're missing some grammar or vocabulary. But in most cases, the reason why you can't understand the sentence is because you don't know how it's pronounced. When I first started studying English, I realized that native English speakers don't use complicated or difficult words at all. They use words that we learned in school. But the real problem is linking and redaction, which makes it even harder for us to understand. And it's so hard for Japanese people because we didn't really study listening in school. And all we did was grammar and reading. So the first thing you have to do is to build your listening skill. I'm gonna share how to do dictation. First, you pick a video on YouTube. You can actually choose some movies, but I don't really recommend them. In movies, some words are made for making movies more attractive. So some words are not natural and sometimes it's difficult to understand. And actually, movies are too fast for beginners. If I recommend one TV show, it's Friends. It's very funny and I really like it. It's one of my favorite TV shows. And another point of pick a video is that you should pick a video of native English speakers because we try to learn English, right? That means that you should always look after native English speakers. They are the goal. Some people say you can choose a video that people speak English as a second language, but I don't really recommend it. It's okay if you want, but if you want to be like a native English speaker, like if you want to be like American, or if you want to be like a British, they have some specific accent, right? And you want to understand native English speakers' English, right? Now then you should look after them. Like we have to understand the reduction and the linking stuff. It's kind of hard for you to get these stuff from a person who speaks English as a second language. But some people speak really, really good English, like a native English speaker. If that's the case, it's fine. But it's really difficult for you to tell if someone is native English speaker or not native English speaker but speaks perfect English. So just in an easy way, you better to pick the native. Once you pick and watch it, and if you're immediate level, the first thing you do is to understand the story of the video. So you put the Japanese subtitles, or if you can understand English, you can put English subtitles, or you cannot dub to Japanese. It's too much. So you put the Japanese subtitles, that's it. And you understand the story. And then you go back to the video and start it again. And then you focus on each sentence to make sure that you fully understand it or not. Okay, this part is very important because there's always reason that you can't understand. You have to figure out what the reason is. Maybe you don't know the meaning of the words, or you misunderstood the pronunciation, or it's because of the reduction or linking. So you need to clear up the reason why you couldn't understand it. In order to find out, you stop the video by one sentence. The next step is to repeat the sentence over and over again until you can understand it unconsciously. The key is that you try to imitate people saying words as much as you can. You also try to imitate their face expression or pronunciation or gesture, something like that. In my case, I repeated more than 10 times to be able to say it perfectly. But of course, the number varies for each person. For some people, it might take over 30 times or even more. I understand. It's tough to do all the steps, but you have to stick with it. Once you're able to say it unconsciously, then finally you'll be able to understand what they say. Because being able to say it means you actually understand it. Speaking and listening are always linked to each other. And if you can't say, you can't understand. If you can't understand, you can't say it. People sometimes suggest just listening to English the whole time, and eventually your listening skills improve, but it doesn't work for everyone. It didn't work for me. I think simply listening to English is definitely one method to improve your listening skills, but it might take longer than you think to reach the goal that you want. If you want to be able to speak English in 10 years, it's understandable. You can do that. You can only listen to English constantly, like all the time. You don't try other methods. But we want to speak English as fast as you can, right? You don't want to miss out opportunities that come with speaking English while you're younger, right? So if you want to be more efficient, you can try my method. Trust me, it works very well. All right, I think that's it for today. I really hope you like it. If you did, give me a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel. Just remember, if you guys want dictation video that I made, click the link in the description. I'll send you the video that guides you how to do dictation. And plus, if you want to get English skill but you're busy, you don't have time to study, you need to build the habit that you are surrounded by English. I made you a video, so click right here. Thank you so much for watching my video. I'll see you in the next video.